they teach the children to treat their guests.
Who brought a spear in here? Who brought a spear in here?
I like her.
Hey, put it down.
What's up, everybody? If you saw Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and found yourself wanting to know more about the high-flying new superhero, Riri Williams, aka Ironheart, then you're in luck, because I'm talking to Ironheart herself, Dominique Thorne. What's up, Dominique? How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm so excited to talk to you because I'm a big fan of Riri Williams from the comics, and it's really cool that you just introduced the character on the big screen for the first time. And what I really love is you took what was in the comic and you really made it your own. Like, she's so smart, she's so funny, and you really gave her this great edge. So I'm curious to hear, what did you do to prepare for the role? Like, did you read the comics? Did you get to talk to the creators of the character?
Honestly, the comics were really my starting point. That was like the foundation for me, for sure. Like, I wanted to understand who this person is that so many folks had already fallen in love of. I of course was familiar with Riri Williams well in advance of being offered the role, but to actually seek out like her appearances in the Invincible Iron Man comics and her own comic by Eve Ewing, wanting to make sure that I just had the foundation of information that exists there, and also just leave like a healthy amount of space for Ryan's input and for what would later be Chinaka Hodge and Sam Bailey and Angela Barnes's input on who this young woman is. And so the comics was definitely the foundation, and step 2 of that was hearing from Ryan himself, who of course is the one to really sort of lay the foundation for how we know Riri on screen. When we meet her, she's in the midst of living her life, doing her day-to-day at MIT, which is also sort of, at this point, as we can sort of tell from that opening sequence, it's become a bit of a playground for her. I mean, she's hustling these kids for for their money, using her genius to her advantage. And so she's definitely got a bit of a comfortable system going on there. The moment that she realizes this person who may be unlike her day-to-day at MIT, who she actually is excited by and who actually inspires her and who she actually admires to be standing in front of her, of course it's like pure shock and awe. It's wondering if she herself has been recognized for a similar brilliance maybe, and then to hear that she's in grave danger because of nothing other than her own ambition is again just sort of, and for that to be tied to mythical man with winged feet, it's definitely taking Riri out of her day-to-day and dropping her into the larger worlds at play in the MCU that prior to this moment, prior to this film, Riri, as we will come to know her on screen, really had no reason to consider.
Obviously, Ironheart is a successor to Iron Man. And in the movie, there is an Iron Man joke, and we see her in a lab. We see in her lab that she's working on Stark Tech, and of course, she flies around in her own version of the Iron Man armor. But there's so much, action and chaos and war in the movie that we don't get to explore any of that. So my question is, what does Iron Man mean to Riri? Like, what does Riri think of Iron Man?
I think that is a question better left answered by the series. So I hope that is reason enough for y'all to sort of take the trip over with us next year to get to really dive into the answer to that question. But I think that it's evident just by her existence as Ironheart that there is an admiration, there is an appreciation for what Tony Stark was able to do when he created the suit. I think what that means to Riri Williams as she moves through the world as a young Black female from Chicago is definitely going to be quite different, because that is an existence that's quite different than the son of a billionaire who is himself a billionaire playboy, used to sell arms. It's just a very different way of seeing the world, and so her way of interacting with the tech is inherently different. but it is fully practical, and so I was fully suspended in the air, and when I was suspended in the air, I was also carrying 52.5 pounds of weight on top of my body, which meant that it became a bit of a different world, a different challenge in and of itself to, you know, really articulate those moves. I mean, even the move that the comic book imagery is doing behind you, you think you might be doing that, but then when you have 52 pounds on you, you may have to do a little bit more to actually really hit that mark, let's say. So it definitely was a great way, though, to start to think about how Riri's mind works, to think that she conceptualized this thing and was able to build something that was big and bulky and clunky, but also aerodynamic, and that, you know, gave her full range of motion and that could fly. So it was definitely a challenge, definitely a task, but also a great entry point into Riri.
Show them who we are.